أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم صلى الله تعالى على حبيبه محمد وآله وسلم. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to our segment on Surah Yusuf. Inshallah, today we will cover the 12th Ruku of Surah Yusuf, which is the last Ruku of the Surah, verses 105 to 111. May Allah grant us the ability to understand the true meanings of the Quran by the grace of His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen. With this dua, let's begin the 12th Ruku of Surah Yusuf, verses 105 and 106. And how many of a sign in the skies and the earth do they pass over, while they from them are the ones who turn away, and not believe most of them in Allah, except while they associate. In the previous Ruku, the story of Prophet Yusuf ﷺ was completed. It was mentioned that even though his story is clearly written in the Quran as a reminder to all to take lessons and benefit from, most people will still not believe it as much as we would like them to. It is emphasized in verse 105 that people do not just fail to reflect upon the stories mentioned in the Quran, like that of Prophet Yusuf ﷺ. They also do not pay attention, nor do they care to reflect upon the signs of Allah that surround us, which we could observe and learn from. As mentioned in Surah Ghafir, in verse 81, where it says, "And He shows you His signs, then which signs of Allah will you deny?" Verse 106 is a powerful reminder that people commit shirk, which means they don't believe in or associate solely with Allah, the real creator and owner of this entire universe and everything in it. Instead, they worship the things that Allah has created. Upon deeper reflection, it becomes clear that the creator is far more superior than his creations. After all, without the creator, these creations would not exist. It's important to ask ourselves, who is more worthy of worship? As mentioned in Surah Al-An'am in verse 102, where it says, "That is Allah, your Lord. There is no deity except Him, the creator of all things. So worship Him, and He is disposer of all things." The definition of shirk can be found in Surah Al-Kahf in verses 32 to 38. The concept of ownership, that everything that we have is solely due to our own individual efforts, is mentioned there. Let's go on to verse 107. Do they then feel secure that they be covered with punishment of Allah, or comes to them the hour suddenly, while they do not perceive? For those who do not believe in Allah and reject His signs, do they not realize that they will never be able to escape death, and when it does come, they will have to face Allah and be accountable for what they did? For anyone who does wrong, the price will be paid, either in the form of some calamity or tragedy in this world, or after death in the hereafter. The stories of the past nations mentioned in the Quran are reminders for all of us to take heed. Let's go on to verse 108. Say, "This is my way. I invite to Allah upon insight, I and those who follow me, and exalted is Allah, and not I am of those who associate." The Quran is the truth from Allah, conveyed through His divine revelations to His beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meant for all humanity to comprehend. It is our responsibility to read, understand, apply, and encourage others to do the same. As Allah is the creator of the entire universe, all living beings, resources, and the laws that govern them, we must seek His guidance and assistance alone and avoid all forms of shirk. Let's go on to verse 109. And not we sent before you except men. We revealed to them from people of the cities. So have not they traveled through the earth and seen how was the end of those before them? and the home of the hereafter is best for those who are mindful. Then will not you use reason? The Quran contains many stories of past nations and their destruction, which we can reflect upon. Today, we can marvel at and explore the remains of these ancient civilizations, along with many others that existed throughout the world. The number of nations that exist, both past and present, is vast. People have been living and evolving for ages, but death is inevitable, and nothing lasts forever in this material world. Those who are mindful of Allah and live according to His commands will be best prepared for the hereafter, where we all will eventually go. By comparing our own situations with those of past nations, we can easily predict our destiny. If the end doesn't look good, then it's time to reevaluate ourselves and make positive changes. Let's go on to verse 110. Until one gave up hope the messengers and thought they certainly were rejected, then came to them our help, and was saved whom we willed, and naught can be repelled our hardship from the people who are the criminals. Many messengers have come and gone, and as we read their stories, we know the many challenges and hardships they had to face. And we also know that with every challenge they faced came ease by the mercy and help from Allah for them to overcome it, because they stayed steadfast on the path towards Allah and relied solely on Him. However, those who strayed from the straight path and rejected Allah and His messengers, they were punished for their crimes. This verse gives hope to those who stay persistent on the path towards Allah and a warning to those who do not. Let's go on to verse 111. Certainly is in their cases a lesson for those of understanding. Not is it a narration invented, but a confirmation of what was before it, and a detailed explanation of all things, and guidance and mercy for a people who believe. This verse is a stark reminder for us to ponder over the stories in the Quran and learn from them. As stated here, they are not just mere tales for amusement. They are events that occur to people like you and me. Every surah in the Quran provides detailed descriptions of principles and laws we need to live properly. The details are there for us to reflect upon and learn from. They are guidance and mercy from Allah for those who believe, so they can achieve success in this world and the hereafter. And as mentioned in this verse, only those who understand this concept will. As stated in Surah An-Nisa, verse 82, where it says, "Then do they not reflect upon the Quran? If it had been from other than Allah, they would have found within it much contradiction." Also mentioned in Surah Sa'd in verse 29, where it says, "A blessed book, which we have revealed to you, that they might reflect upon its signs, and that those of understanding would be reminded." This concludes Ruku 12 of Surah Yusuf. Let's briefly go over what we discussed. The act of associating anything or anyone with the nature and attributes of Allah, the real creator and owner, is known as Shirk. Shirk is not limited to worshipping other than Allah. It's also considering one's abilities and achievements as one's own, instead of blessings given by Allah. The stories and remains of past nations are signs for us to reflect upon and ponder over the conflict between right and wrong. These are not invented tales, but actual true events and sources of wisdom. One can determine the outcome of their actions in this world by reflecting deeply on them. Our salvation lies in following Allah's commands and the blessed Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah grant us the ability to understand the Holy Quran and its true meanings in light of the life and guidance of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ameen. Thank you for joining us for this segment. Until next time. Sadaqallahul Aliyyul Azim. Allah speaks the truth, the exalted, the great. Sallallahu ta'ala ala habibihi Muhammadiyun wa alihi wa sallam.